Mr. Zulkarnain Abdul Rahim.
Mr. Speaker, I will address oral questions number 28 and 29, written question number 11, as well as questions filed by Ms. Ng Ling Ling and Dr. Wan Rizal for future seating, please.
Please proceed.
In the past 5 years, the number of knife-related crimes involving murder, robbery, rioting, and serious hurt has remained relatively constant, averaging about 150 cases annually. About 36% of these crimes occurred in residential areas, and 3% happened in educational institutions' premises. The remaining cases occurred in other public and commercial premises. For urgent incidents, including those involving dangerous weapons, police are generally able to respond within 15 minutes of the call. The officers will use force wherever necessary, and this includes situations which require them to protect and to save lives, including their own lives, and prevent the commission of an offense and arrest subjects. Where a person refuses to comply with police's instructions and poses a threat to the lives of those around him, including the police officers, the officers may use lethal force to neutralize the threat. In incidents where firearms have been used, the Police Psychological Services Department works with the police units, leaderships, and para-counselors to provide stress management interventions to support the officers involved. MHA currently regulates 6 items under the Arms and Explosives Act, or AEA in short: sword, spear, spearhead, dagger, bayonet, and dangerous bows and arrows. This list of regulated weapons will be expanded to include items such as knuckle dusters and flick knives when the Guns, Explosives and Weapons Control Act replaces the AEA later this year. Regulated items will be subjected to greater control, including the regulation of sales on e-commerce platforms. We need to be calibrated on the regulatory measures to be imposed. Many items with common daily usage, like knives, can also be used as offensive weapons. We need to be practical and not over-regulate such items. There are legislative measures to deal with persons with a higher propensity of committing crimes, including knife-related crimes, due to a certain psychiatric conditions. For instance, a person who suffers from a mental disorder can be detained under the Mental Health Care and Treatment Act. Where a person has already been convicted of an offense, the court may impose a mandatory treatment order, or MTO, if his or her condition contributed to the offense. The MTO would compel the person to undergo psychiatric treatment for up to 36 months in lieu of imprisonment, which would facilitate the rehabilitation and treatment of the individual involved. For those who are incarcerated, the Singapore Prison Services provides intervention for inmates who are at risk of violent reoffending. For example, they are taught how to regulate their emotions and acquire skills to resolve conflicts without resorting to violence. MHA, together with our partner agencies, has also been engaging the public through the SG Secure movement to build vigilance and preparedness against terrorism. Outreach efforts such as including sharing advisories such as Run, Hide, Tell, and Press, Tie, Tell, as well as other emergency preparedness programs such as the First Aid Program and the use of CPR AED. These skills are also applicable in non-terrorism related emergency such as the recent knife incidents, and will help members of the public avoid or reduce harm to oneself or to others. Thank you.
Ms. Ng Ling Ling.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you, SMS, for the reply. having had to assure quite a lot of residents at Buangkok Crescent for the recent knife-related crime, many residents has asked me what is the criteria for Singapore Police Force to locate a neighbourhood police post in areas of high risk where there are concerns and there are actually incidents that has happened like this. So what is Singapore Police Force criteria for locating a neighbourhood police post so that they feel like there's more police presence in the area? The second question I have is, if neighbourhood police posts cannot be located for good reasons, how much can patrols and surveillance be increased to again assure the residents? Thank you.
Thank you. The location of the police post or neighbourhood police post will be very dependent on the area of allocation in terms of the residential, commercial, and other premises that are within the area. So, in fact, actually, the members of public have very easy to the police by dialing 999. And in addition to that, we have actually deployed in some areas where we think they may be more secluded, some mobile self-help stations where members of public can actually activate the police at locations, for example, in the Punggol Park Connector area. So these are experiments and pilots that we are trying out to try to allow members of public to have easier access and also to give some form of assurance and confidence to our members of public about police presence around the neighborhood. But as you have rightly pointed out, the police cannot be everywhere all the time. So I think the community effort to get together to assure and to do the right thing during times of incidents like this, as we have witnessed at the Buangkok incident, in fact, how members of public have come together, exercised their discretion, and they put the perpetrator in their place, I think is a very encouraging effort that the community can play a role as well. The police will continue to increase their patrol on areas where there is a potential high crime, where we received more reports from members of public to give better assurance to our members of public as well. Thank you.
Mr. Zulkarnain Abdul Rahim.
Just one supplementary question, in particular for the MTOs. If there are, even without an MTO, would the SPS be looking into a tailor-made, customized intervention program within the prison for any at-risk individuals, and also for members of the public who have any information for individuals who may be at risk or susceptible to knife-related crimes? How would one go about highlighting that individual to the police and for further treatment? Thank you.
There are two parts to the question. The first part on the prison service, I have mentioned briefly in my speech that the prison services today have already existing rehabilitative programs for those who are at risk of violent reoffending. And this includes teaching them how to manage their own emotions, how do they deal with their urge to take offensive actions, and also in terms of counseling and helping them to address their own issues within the prison terms when they are serving. For other members of public or members of people who are actually looking for help, actually they are more than just the prison service or the police MHA. We're working with other agencies who are dealing with mental health and mental issues to help address some of the members of public. I think MSF has been doing that. This question actually goes beyond the MHA as well as the SPF remit. I think if you want to have further elaborations on it, I would encourage you to file a further question on how to deal with the mental health issues of the members of public at large. Thank you.